Now, was the Dutch invasion, let's call it an invasion, was it an invasion, or were they just visiting?
They were drifted away. Japan coast early 17th century, so
Yeah.
it's about 40 years before than this Dejima period, and some of them become very knowledgeable, Dutch and British. Two of them hired by Japanese government.
Yes.
Those days become very famous, and so the Dutch people are very welcomed
Yes.
by Japan.
Yes.
So
It was a friendly encounter
friendly encounter
from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning, no battle at all.
Now, there's an interesting point to mention in that the Dutch did not. There were two famous Dutch figures that were not bringing religion with them, and that was the key.
That was the key.
That was the key to the friendly handshake between Holland and Japan, was the fact that they were not forcing Christianity on the Japanese. So they were welcome. And there were two famous figures during that time, weren't there? Two famous Dutch figures who did not bring Christianity with them. I think that there were two famous gentlemen who did not bring Christianity with them. They were friendly figures in Japan.
You mean William Adams?
William Adams.
William Adams,
Yeah.
that he's a British.
He was British.
Jan Joosten.
Jan
he's a
Joosten.
Dutch.
Okay.
Yes, they were not actually not a merchant, but they're one of them a sailor. I forgot. William Adams was a sailor.
Yeah.
And he helped to educate Japanese government about the situation of Western countries.
Yeah.
And they are very acknowledge those two gentlemen. They welcomed, and they were given even the Japanese names.
Yeah. Is that right? Do we know their names in Japanese?
Yes. Miura Adams.
Miura Adams.
Miura Anjin.
Miura Anjin. Meaning?
That's William Adams. Miura Anjin. And Miura is the place where he lived.
Ah, right.
And the other Jan Joosten.
Yes.
Jan Joosten. He's Dutch. His name became the place of Tokyo Station. Yaesu. There is two exit, two entrance, I should say, entrance to Tokyo Station.
Yeah.
One of them is called Yaesu. Yaesu comes from Jan Joosten.
Is that right? Well, I learned something new
Very,
because
very famous place, Jan Joosten.
Wow, that's amazing. I used to commute through that station and I did not know that. So what were they doing here as sailors? What was their ambition?
First they came to, I think they came to for trade for sure.
Yes.
But they seems to have studied about Japan well enough beforehand.
Yes.
Until how Portuguese were expelled. For instance, they were Lavi. So they are very good, to start with. They started very well.
Yes.
And they, after 220 years later, I should say later, they ended very well too.
Well, that's great. Yes. So what were they trading?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trading is we are importing sugar and silk. The silk is Chinese, so it's they bought silk and from China and sold to Japan. It's a triangle trade.
Triangle trade. Now this was around the time of the Silk Road, of course.
So and also every year when this Dejima. There is a captain. He's a Dutch people. Captain wrote Hollander. Dutch, I should say, periodical. Periodical. It's a newspaper or some kind of, yearly magazine.
Yes.
Some of the sort.
Yes.
So every year, new captain arrives in Nagasaki and stay for 1 year at Dejima. During that time, he writes periodical, of course in Dutch. And there is a translator in Japanese. Japanese translator try to translate in Japanese and to the shogun, the top leader of Japan in Tokyo, Edo at the time.
Yes.
So every year we knew the Western culture and the world top news.
Right.
Like Opium War in China.
Oh, the Opium War.
Opium War. So we knew that very as soon as it, the war happened. And not only they let us know, they advised Japan to make a strong navy.
Yes.
Otherwise you will be invaded by other countries.
Yes, the protection.
Yeah. So they
Defense.
advised to make a naval academy.
Around which time period was this?
1855.
1855. So we're now coinciding with, in British times, the Victorian era, Industrial Revolution, of course.
Yeah, just before Industrial Revolution.
Just before the Industrial Revolution.
And before British came.
Yes,
that's
right
the ending of Holland. What they left Japan at the end is the British Naval Academy.
Yeah.
They donated a battleship.
Yes.
Yeah. And with that battleship, they trained Japanese soldiers, not only fighting, but physics, astronomy, and medicine, everything. Everything that have been taught in Western university, so to speak. And the next, they made iron shop, shipyard.
Dutch shipyards in Japan.
For the repair of the warship. It was necessary. And they sent a very good engineer, and those engineers became the manager of the first industrial company, Mitsubishi Shipyard, and which became one of the world's largest shipbuilding company afterwards. And that was started by Dutch engineers. Yes. And the third was the medical school. Yes. And there is a very famous Dutch doctor called Pompey. But he has a very long name. I have somewhere in this.
It's here in this.
It's a long name.
In this archive.
And there is some part. It's a Pompey. That is easy to remember. So every Japanese called him Pompey.
He has a nickname.
Yeah,
Pompey. So what happened between the late 1600s and the 1800s? What happened during those 200 years?
200 years. So every year